Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a seriously fascinating chapter of our story, often called Life in the Forest. And what makes this particular section so incredibly captivating is how it masterfully weaves together three simultaneous threads. We've got this profound sense of peace, unwavering loyalty, and creeping up in the background, the slow, heavy shadow of impending doom. It's kind of like a giant puzzle where all the pieces are moving at once. Let's dive in and look at how physical distance and these overlapping timelines build up some absolutely massive dramatic tension.
Three locations, one empty throne, and an approaching storm. Okay, so picture this. We are looking at three totally distinct geographical and character poles, and they're all happening at the exact same time. You have the forest, right, where our main characters are exiled. Then you have the capital city, sitting there with this massive power vacuum. And finally, somewhere way off in the distance, a gathering threat. Whenever a story splits its focus like this, oh man, you just know a collision course is being built. The real tension here comes from the fact that we, the audience, we can see the whole chessboard. We see all the pieces, even when the characters themselves have literally no idea what's coming.
Which brings us to Act 1, Peace in the Forest, and establishing the new normal.
So, out in the wilderness, Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana are adopting to their exile. And this is a massive, long-term shift in their reality. Now, you might initially think an exile is just a punishment, right? Like a time to passively hide out. But look at the verbs driving their daily routine. Yes, they're living peacefully, but they're also visiting sacred hermitages, and, this is absolutely crucial, they're protecting sages from demons who are disturbing their rituals. Actually, scratch that, they aren't just surviving out there, they're taking on active, highly visible roles. They're stepping up to maintain order where it's threatened. And because of this, their fame starts spreading like wildfire across the land. They are basically broadcasting their location and their identities to the wider world. So, it's a peaceful life, sure, but it is an active peace, and those actions are going to have major consequences.
Now let's shift gears to Act 2, the empty throne. We're heading back to Ayodhya to see duty and sorrow in the capital.
Back in the highly structured capital, Rama's brother, Bharata, is facing a totally different emotional reality. He learns the truth behind Rama's exile, but instead of just crumbling, he channels that immense grief into a fierce sense of duty. He becomes Rama's representative. The throne is sitting there empty because Bharata flat out refuses to sit on it. But, a kingdom can't just survive without leadership. So what does he do? He places Rama's sandals directly on the royal seat. He literally rules Ayodhya as a proxy, just waiting faithfully for his brother to come back. Think about how incredibly powerful that visual metaphor is. A pair of everyday sandals sitting on this grand, opulent throne. It's a constant, daily reminder to the whole kingdom and to Bharata himself of who the true leader is. It's just this remarkable display of faithfulness that takes personal sorrow and turns it into a stabilizing political force.
And this parallel timeline brilliantly illustrates the immense dramatic irony of the whole story. I mean, these three completely different lives are unfolding concurrently across vast distances. Just to put that into perspective, while Rama is physically out there fighting off demons in the forest to protect the sages, Bharata is fighting off the chaos of an empty throne back in Ayodhya using nothing but the symbol of his brother's sandals. And in that very same breath of time, a third, insanely dangerous variable is added to the mix. Ravana, the mighty demon king, hears about Sita. It creates this beautifully tense web of cause and effect that spans the entire continent. As viewers, we're forced to hold all three of these realities in our minds at the exact same time.
And that perfectly sets up Act 3, Danger Approaches and the Looming Threat.
We can directly contrast the moral choices happening completely off-screen from our main characters. On one hand, we have Bharata. His motivations are entirely driven by sorrow, duty, and faithfulness. His reaction to a power vacuum is absolute integrity as a loyal proxy ruler. But on the other hand, we have Ravana. He hears about the beauty of Sita, and rather than reacting with any sort of honor, he reacts with this toxic obsession. He is driven purely by desire and arrogance. So you have one leader who rejects power out of pure love for his brother, and another who seeks to exploit a situation out of sheer lust and ego. This stark contrast right here is the psychological engine driving the entire coming conflict.
Which leads us to this quote. His desire and arrogance would soon change the course of history. I mean, wow. The text leaves us with this incredibly heavy, ominous cliffhanger. The author definitely doesn't mince words here. It's no longer a question of if Ravana's sinister machinations will affect our characters, it's entirely a question of when. We know Rama's fame has spread everywhere because he's been so active protecting those sages. We know Ravana has now heard of Sita. The physical distance between them is shrinking. Well, maybe not geographically, but narratively for sure. The inevitability of this collision is literally jumping off the page.
So, how will one king's arrogance shatter the peace of the forest? I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. We've seen just how hard Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana worked to establish their peaceful, active lives out in the wilderness. We've seen Bharata's desperate, faithful attempt to hold a kingdom together in their absence. How is this inevitable collision with Ravana's overwhelming desire and arrogance going to shatter the quiet lives of our protagonists? When an unstoppable force driven entirely by ego meets an immovable family driven entirely by duty, what breaks first? Keep that in mind, and hey, thank you so much for exploring this fantastic text with me today.